Hi everyone, the filming of my Parasha video is a little unusual this week as I'm in completely stopped traffic, nothing's moving at all. I've turned my car engine off and I thought let me use this time to share some words of Torah. So we have in the beginning of the second aliyah of Beha'alotecha, the Torah tells us that the Levi'im are to be initiated, to be inaugurated in their service of Hashem in the temple. And the way that the Torah says it is that the Levi'im are taking the place of the firstborn, of the Bechor, since the Bechor used to be dedicated to the service of Hashem, because Hashem chose the firstborn in Egypt. When the Egyptian firstborn died in the death of the firstborn, the Jewish firstborn were saved. So the Jewish firstborn were committed to the service of Hashem, and Hashem has put the Levi'im in place of the firstborn. Now that's all fantastic. There's just one problem. The Torah doesn't tell us why the firstborn were replaced. Hashem's explaining to us what's going on over here. The firstborn were chosen. I'm replacing them with the Levi'im. Therefore, you need to inaugurate the Levi'im. But there's a fundamental step. Do you see that? But why are we switching over? If you chose the firstborn, stick with them. The answer we know is because of the golden calf. But surely this is the time for the Torah to tell us that. A great commentator, Rashi, explains why the Levi'im were chosen instead of the firstborn. The firstborn sinned at the golden calf, the Levi'im did not. But isn't this something that the Torah itself should say? I believe the answer to this is to be found at the beginning of Devarim. We find in the beginning of Devarim a very lengthy introduction to that book, and Rashi explains that much of the seeming context, the place names where Moshe's speech takes place, is in fact a rebuke to the Jewish people. Moshe is listing for them all of the places where they sinned over the course of their 40 years in the desert. And Rashi there asks the question, why does Moshe wait until the end of the 40 years to rebuke them, to tell them what they've done wrong and how they should make up for it? And the answer, he says, is because for many reasons a teacher should only rebuke his students at the end of their life. A father should only rebuke his son at the end of his life. By rebuke we mean a really strong kind of soul-searching sort of rebuke. Why? And Rashi gives various reasons. They'll be embarrassed to see one another. They won't be able to meet one another's eyes. Maybe the son will in fact leave the father's path completely because of this kind of embarrassment. And so therefore the father really needs to pick the time very, very carefully. And I propose that is why this is being left out right here. Hashem doesn't want to tell us right now, tell the Jews, this is why the Levi'im are placing the firstborn because of the golden calf. That would be an explicit rebuke. This is not the time. You're going to make it very uncomfortable. Let's wait until the book of Devarim. That's the right time and place for Moshe to make this rebuke. That's the one idea I'd like to share. And the second one is that soon after that the Levi'im are inaugurated, Hashem says, the Levi'im are taken from amongst Bnei Yisrael, from the Jewish people, and they will serve on behalf of Bnei Yisrael, the Jewish people, and this will be the task of the Levi'im amongst Bnei Yisrael. In one pasuk, the phrase Bnei Yisrael, the Jewish people, is mentioned 5 times. And by the 5th time, you're already saying, okay, Hashem, I know who the subject of this verse is. Rashi again asks that question. Why are they being mentioned so many times? And he says, to show how much Hashem loves them, to show how much Hashem loves the Jewish people. Now, when I first learned that, I understood it means Hashem throughout the Torah shows his love for the Jewish people, and this is another example of Hashem showing his love for the Jewish people. However, looking at it again this week, I think there's something deeper here as well. I think it's not just a general expression of love for the Jewish people, but if you think about this whole section in context of the sensitivity that Hashem is showing towards us, what this is saying is the Levi'im are coming in. Why? As replacement for the firstborn of the Jewish people. It used to be that every family had somebody who was dedicated to the service of Hashem. And now Hashem is saying, your family will have no such representative. The Levi'im will be the representative. Well, that feels an awful lot like rejection. How do you reject somebody without making them feel rejected? Or how do you send that message that they're not actually being rejected? And I think that's what Hashem's doing over here. Hashem is saying to them, the Levi'im are doing it on behalf of the Jewish people. I'm taking the Levi'im from amongst the Jewish people. You guys need to know you are not chopped liver. You are not rejected. You are not cast away. I love you. I value you. I care about you. The Levi'im are the correct people for this job. But do not take that as Hashem knows they could, a reflection on some kind of diminished love or commitment to them, because it's not. So we see in these two sections, I think, a tremendous degree of love and sensitivity from Hashem Shabbat Shalom.